Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to a gorgeous evening tonight in Los Angeles. Last week I showed you guys a pour I did with my daughter Joey for Mother's Day, on Mother's Day, and it was a lot of fun. And we had such a nice time talking. I love talking to my girls. They're both hilarious. And my little one was actually talking about a story that I used to tell them when they were small. And she goes, I love that story, and we were talking about it, and I thought, it'd be kind of a fun story to tell you guys. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to tell you the story of the rainbow crow, and we're going to paint at the same time. This is a 36 by 36 inch gallery wrapped canvas from Artists Loft. I have taped and pinned the back, and I have painted the sides and edges with my base coat color, my black from Amsterdam. Okay, so I have a lot of colors here. This is definitely a kitchen sink pour. I usually keep leftovers in my barbecue, because why not? Doesn't everyone? And it was getting kind of full. So I've sort of cleared it out in there, refreshed all the paints. They are all leftovers actually, and I will tell you what they are as I'm putting them down. My plan is to do a pearl pour tonight, and to that effect I have thinned out all of my colors and specifically my base coat like 3 times more than I normally would. So it's all nice and thin, and hopefully we'll get a beautiful pearl pour out of this. So that's probably all the talking I'm going to do, because now I'm going to tell you the story, which is a lot of fun. So, okay. So this story of Rainbow Crow comes from the Lenapi Tribe, and I will link for you in the description box through the website, which talks about the story in more detail. So Rainbow Crow was a beautiful, beautiful bird. He had these amazing rainbow-colored feathers and this amazing, glorious singing voice, and he was so beautiful. And when he sang, everyone stopped and listened, because nobody had ever heard anything like that before, and he was amazing. So the story takes place long, long, long ago, before our ancestors walked the earth, and when the earth was warm and the animals all lived in harmony and were happy together. And one day the earth turned kind of cold, and this white sparkly stuff began to fall from the sky, and it was powdery and flaky and kind of fluffy. The animals weren't scared. They were actually fairly excited about that white powdery stuff. It was kind of fun. So this is Amsterdam Pearl Red, and they were playing and frolicking and having a good time with the snow, and nobody really was scared of anything. And the snow kept falling, and after a while it got kind of deep. Poor little mouse was like completely covered with the snow. We couldn't even see him. All that was sticking up was just the tip of his tail. And the animals started to get a little worried. And a couple of days went by, and now they were looking for Rabbit, and they couldn't find poor Rabbit. And they looked and looked, and all they could see was just the tip of his ears sticking up out of the snow. And now the animals started to get very, very concerned, because they were worried. And the smallest ones were now taking refuge on the backs of the taller animals just to keep themselves safe and keep their heads above the snow. That's Amsterdam Permanent Blue Violet, and the other one was Permanent Red Violet from Amsterdam. This is this little piggy in Zimzelen. Beautiful color. Okay, so the animals decided that they needed to have a council and have a conversation and decide what should be done about all of this snow and how they could fix the situation and make it better. So they all sat down, and first the possum said, I know, we should send someone to the Creator and ask him to stop the snow. And they all thought, wow, that's such a great idea. So then the discussion became, who do we send? So first, this one is Amsterdam Titanium White. First, Possum says, well, I think we should send Owl, because Owl is very wise, and he will surely be able to help us and talk to the Creator. And someone said, no. Owl, poor guy, he can't see that well in the daylight, and he might get lost. So no, Owl should not go, definitely not. And then one of the other animals said, well, I know, we could send Fox. Fox is very, very smart, and he's cunning, and he would do a great job. He's strong. And they said, I don't know, he's kind of sneaky sometimes, and I don't know, he might decide he wants to hunt or something. And it just wouldn't be good to send fox. This, I believe, is Liquitex Turquoise Blue. So then somebody said, I have an idea. Let's send Coyote. Coyote is very smart, and he's wily, and he's fast, and he's strong. Coyote will take good care of us. I said, no, Coyote is definitely not a good choice. He might get lost. He might start playing jokes. He might swallow the wind. No, Coyote can't go. So then all the animals were in an uproar. They were hooting and howling and growling and hissing. They didn't know what to do. What are we going to do? Who are we going to send? And all of a sudden, from up high in the trees, they hear this beautiful voice calling. And comes down Rainbow Crow. And he lands in the clearing where all his friends are. And he says, do not worry, I will take care of this. I will go and talk to the Creator and ask him to stop the snow. Don't worry, my friends. And everyone cheered and was happy and was laughing and was excited because Rainbow Crow had this amazing voice and he was so beautiful. Everybody would pay attention to him. This is Abalone from this little Piggy Pigments, which is just gorgeous. Love it. So Rainbow Crow flew off. And he was going to fly for 3 days and 3 nights up until he got to where the Creator lived and the 12th level of the heavens. And he flew the first day, and the second day he started to get a little tired, but he flew higher and higher and higher until he passed the moon and the stars and all the clouds. And eventually he got to the 12th level of heaven where the Creator was. And the Creator was there, but he was very busy, obviously. And he didn't see Rainbow Crow. Took no notice of him. And Rainbow Crow said, what can I do that will make him see me and hear me? He said, I know. I will sing for him. So Rainbow Crow started to sing his most beautiful song. And the Creator heard him and stopped what he was doing. And came over to Rainbow Crow and said, my friend, you've given me such a beautiful gift with your song. I've never heard anything so beautiful. I'd like to give you a gift. What can I give you that will make you happy? Rainbow Crow thought about all his little animal friends down in the forest that were cold and were probably disappearing under the snow. And he said to the Creator, thank you, but I would really love it if you could make the snow stop. My animal friends are suffering and they're cold and they're scared. Please help us and make the snow stop. And the Creator said, I cannot do this. Snow has a will of its own, and eventually it will get tired and go and play with its friend the wind, and it will leave, but it will still be cold. And Rainbow Crow said, well, can you make it not be cold? And he said, no, my son, I'm sorry, I cannot do this either. But I'll tell you what I can do. I will give you the gift of fire, and that way you can warm your friends and be safe from the snow until the summer comes, the spring comes. And so with that, he took a huge branch off a tree and he flung it up into the sun until it lit on fire, and he brought it down and he handed it to Rainbow Crow, and Rainbow Crow took it in his beak, and he's holding this big stick with the tip on fire. And the Creator says, okay, now I'm only going to give you this gift once, so go quickly before the fire goes out. So Rainbow Crow started to fly down from the heavens, and on the first day he was flying and flying, and he was falling and going so fast, and the fire was so hot that all of his tail feathers started to get singed and turn black. And then the second day he was flying faster and faster, and the fire was getting hotter and hotter. And on the second day, all of his feathers turned black. They were no longer this beautiful rainbow. And it's not bad. Could have been worse. On the third day, he was so close to the fire, and that stick was so short now, and the fire was so hot, and he was breathing in all this smoke and ash. And his beautiful voice was no longer beautiful. He was hoarse, coughing, and his voice sounded crispy and crumbly, and he kept saying, "Caw, caw," to try to clear his throat and clear his voice, and he couldn't get his voice to clear. He was very upset. And then finally, he comes to the clearing where he left all his animal friends before. And he can't find any of them because all he can see is snow. The only thing that's visible is the tops of the very tallest trees. And so he does the only thing he can think of. He flies around and around and around the clearing as fast as he can, in circles swooping all over, and eventually he gets the snow to melt. Where was that edge? Was it on that side or this side? Okay, we're just taking off some extra paint now. Until he gets all of the snow melted in the clearing, and gradually his animal friends come out of hiding, and they're sitting there, and they're talking, and they're cheering, and they're laughing, and they're loving Rainbow Crow, and saying, wow, you saved us, you brought back fire from the Creator, and now we won't be cold anymore, and you saved us, Rainbow Crow, you're so amazing, we love you, we love you. And Rainbow Crow flew off all by himself, because he was actually very sad, and he took refuge in the highest tree he could find so he could be alone. And he began to weep. And he was crying and very unhappy because his beautiful rainbow feathers that had made him so unique and special were gone. And now they were just plain solid black. And he was very sad. And his voice, his beautiful singing voice that everybody had praised and loved him for so much, his voice was now hoarse and scraggly and not beautiful anymore. And his song wasn't beautiful anymore. And he was very, very, very depressed and very sad because everything that had been unique and special and wonderful about him was now not there anymore after he very selflessly volunteered to help his friends. So Rainbow Crow was definitely in despair. He was very sad for months. And eventually, the snow stopped and got busy with its friend the wind and left. And the warm spring and summer returned. But still, Rainbow Crow sat up in his tree crying and crying and crying and weeping until the Creator heard him. And so the Creator came down and he said to Rainbow Crow, he said, my friend, you have done an amazing thing, and you saved all of your friends. Soon man is going to be here, and he will be master of everything, except for you. Because you were so selfless and brave to save all of your friends that you volunteered to fly up all the way past the 12th levels of heaven just to come and talk to me to save your friends. And so I'm going to give you the gift of your freedom. Because you were so good and so kind, man will never hunt you because your meat tastes like fire and smoke. And because you were so good and brave, man will never capture you in a cage because your beautiful singing voice is now a hoarse caw. And because man will never capture you because your feathers that were this beautiful rainbow are now all black. But, he said, Rainbow Crow, I am giving you a magical gift. If you look closely at your feathers, you will see tons of tiny rainbows among the black. And for that, you will know how special and loved you are, and how much I treasure you and your dedication to your fellow creatures. So that's the story of Rainbow Crow. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love that story. It's just so pretty. This is actually really cool. So we have our black with all of our rainbows coming up through here. And it's looking pretty good so far. I'm actually very hopeful. This is looking awesome. We're getting a lot of beautiful cells in here in all these different colors, and a lot down there and a lot over here, which makes me happy. So I'm going to torch this. What do you think, HUA?
Really cool. Very galaxy.
Yeah.
12,
cool.
The 12th level of heaven.
Legend of Rainbow Crow. This is so pretty. I see like abalone with some of the Zimzelen in there. This is really neat. I'm very, very happy. This is cool. Yay!
So we're gonna let this percolate for 10 or 15 minutes or so?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind. We're gonna put this on a time lapse and we'll be back in about 10 minutes to see how it looks. Okay, so I am really happy with how this is turning out. It is selling up beautifully. All of those gorgeous metallics are coming through. That amazing abalone, that jadeite color that I had mixed up. The Zimzelen is coming through. The pearl red is coming through, I hope. So this part is so gorgeous. All of these beautiful little tiny rainbows on this black background. I love it. And I love this like kind of swoopy motion up here and then a little bit in here and then that part's bubbling up and it's really pretty. So I'm very, very happy with this one. And I will show you guys when it is dry. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I don't know if you guys know a lot about crows, but they are very, very smart and they're really cool. They're very, very cool animals. Like they befriend humans and they'll bring them gifts and follow them and take care of them. It's really, really neat. So I'll put some links in the description box for stories about crows and some more information about them and the original legend that we talked about. So we'll be right back with dried results. Okay, so here we are a few days later and it is totally dry now. This one came out so cool. I am so happy about this and all of these beautiful cells that showed up and all of these beautiful rainbow colors. Let's get a little closer. Some of that beautiful Zimzelen and the two different turquoises we used and the abalone. Just beautiful stuff. Some of that jadeite popping through. Sorry, there is no sun today and it's about to start raining. Trying very hard to focus on things. There we go. But this is really, really pretty. I love all of these little sparkling details and these amazing cells and all these different colors are so pretty. I'm really, really happy with this. I love this kind of movement that's happening up there at the top. Really pretty, kind of this swoop falling down and then lots of little bubbles coming up from the bottom. So this was for our Legend of Rainbow Crow, the story of the beautiful crow that went up to the creator to get fire and save all of his animal friends. I love that story. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to hear more stories like this, because a few of you have asked a little bit. But this was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed this one also. I hope you guys did too. If you did, please share this video. I would really appreciate that. It helps me out a lot. And, you know, like and subscribe if you're not already, please. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you have any other suggestions for other animal myths you'd like to know about. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.